First Contact's Consequence. Admiral Sarah Chen stood at the viewport of Lunar Command, her weathered face reflecting off the reinforced glass as she watched Earth rotate slowly below. 20 years had passed since the Arcturus incident, but the memories remained sharp as ever. The day humanity learned they weren't alone in the galaxy, and that not every species came in peace. Admiral, the quantum fold core is ready for final installation. Commander James Rodriguez's voice pulled her from her reverie. On the massive holoscreen behind them, the skeletal framework of humanity's greatest achievement slowly took shape in the orbital shipyards of Mars. Proceed, Commander. Chen turned from the viewport, her eyes scanning the latest progress reports. Project Aegis had consumed nearly 15 years of humanity's combined resources and intellectual might. The massive vessel would be their answer to the Arcturus Confederation's attempt to subjugate Earth 2 decades ago. The memory of that day still burned. 3 Arcturus warships had appeared without warning, demanding Earth's immediate surrender and integration into their empire. Humanity's handful of defensive satellites and small fleet of space vessels hadn't stood a chance. But what the Arcturians hadn't counted on was humanity's stubborn refusal to yield and their ability to improvise. Dr. Patel's team reports the adaptive shield matrix is performing beyond projected specifications, Rodriguez continued, bringing up detailed diagnostics. The quantum fold drive is stable at 47% capacity. Chen nodded, allowing herself a small smile. The quantum fold drive was humanity's ace, a revolution in propulsion technology that had emerged from their desperate research after the Arcturus incident. It didn't just bend space. It folded it in ways that violated what most species considered possible. Status report on the AI core integration, she asked, moving to the central command table where a detailed hologram of Project Aegis rotated slowly. ARIA is online and running final neural pathway optimizations, Rodriguez replied, referring to the advanced recursive intelligence assembly they'd developed specifically for the massive vessel. She's already showing signs of unique personality development, just as the designers hoped. The ship itself was a masterpiece of human engineering and determination. At 17 kilometers long, it dwarfed anything known to exist in the galaxy. But size alone wasn't what made it special. It was the integration of dozens of revolutionary technologies, each born from humanity's desperate drive to survive. Admiral, a new voice called from the communications station. We're receiving a priority transmission from the Proxima Centauri outpost. They're detecting multiple fold space signatures approaching the solar system. Chen's expression hardened. Identification. Signatures match Arcturus Confederation patterns, ma'am. 5 capital ships, at least 12 support vessels. The room fell silent. They'd known this day would come. It was why they'd pushed so hard to complete Project Aegis. The Arcturians had given Earth 20 years of relative peace, presumably assuming humanity would eventually accept their protection. Instead, humanity had spent those years preparing. Time to arrival? Chen asked, her mind already racing through contingencies. Approximately 48 hours at their current velocity. Chen turned to Rodriguez. Status of the primary weapon systems. The Graviton Lance arrays are at 89% functionality. Point Defense Grid is fully operational. The only major system still in integration is the Quantum Fold core, but Dr. Patel says they can have it combat-ready in 36 hours. It would have to be enough. Chen opened a secure channel to the United Earth Defense Council. This is Admiral Chen. Initiate Protocol Omega. I say again, initiate Protocol Omega. She turned to her crew, seeing the mixture of determination and anxiety on their faces. Sound General Quarters. I want every civilian vessel pulled back to Earth orbit. And get me a direct line to Dr. Patel. We need that Quantum Fold core operational now. As alarms began to sound throughout the facility, Chen returned to the viewport. Somewhere out there, the Arcturians were approaching, probably expecting to find the same primitive species they'd encountered 20 years ago. Instead, they would find humanity transformed, not just technologically, but philosophically. The galaxy had tried to teach humanity its place. Now, humanity would teach the galaxy about the dangers of underestimating human determination. Area. Chen spoke to the ship's AI. Begin pre-launch sequences. Upload tactical scenarios Alpha through Delta. Acknowledged, Admiral. The AI's calm voice replied. Pre-launch sequences initiated. Shall I begin crew transfer protocols as well? Affirmative. And ARI. How do you feel about making history? There was a pause, longer than necessary for an eye of Aria's capabilities. I feel ready, Admiral, and proud to serve alongside humanity. Chen smiled. The next 48 hours would determine the fate of Earth and humanity's place in the galaxy. But as she watched the massive form of Project Aegis coming to life in orbit, she felt something she hadn't experienced since before the Arcturus incident. Hope. The Arcturians were coming to finish what they'd started 20 years ago. Instead, they would witness the birth of a new era, one where humanity would never again be at the mercy of those who thought them weak. Send word to all commands, Chen ordered. Project Aegis is now operational. Operation Prometheus begins in 48 hours. As her orders echoed through the command center, Chen allowed herself one final look at Earth below. Everything would change soon, but change had always been humanity's greatest strength. The galaxy was about to learn that lesson the hard way. Project Aegis unveiled. The Arcturus fleet never made it to Earth. They emerged from fold space exactly where humanity's sensors had predicted, and found themselves facing the impossible. Project Aegis hung in space like a metal leviathan, its massive form blocking out the stars behind it. The quantum fold drive hummed with barely contained power, creating ripples in spacetime that the Arcturian sensors couldn't even properly interpret. For a long moment, there was absolute silence across all communication channels. Arcturus vessels. Aria's voice transmitted across all frequencies, translated into perfect Arcturian standard. You are in violation of United Earth space. Power down your weapons and prepare to be escorted from the system. The response was immediate and predictable. The Arcturus ships began charging their primary weapons, their formation spreading out in a standard attack pattern. They had come expecting to find a primitive species ready for conquest. Instead, they found humanity waiting for them. Admiral Chen watched from Aegis's command center as the Arcturian ships opened fire. Their energy weapons, considered among the most powerful in known space, splashed harmlessly against Aegis's adaptive shield matrix. The shield didn't just absorb the energy. It learned from each impact, adjusting its frequencies in real time to become even more effective. RIA, initiate demonstration protocol, Chen ordered calmly. Let's show our visitors what 20 years of human innovation looks like. The A's response was immediate. Aegis's graviton lance arrays powered up, targeting the lead Arcturus vessel with surgical precision. The beam that emerged wasn't visible to the human eye, but its effects were spectacular. Space itself seemed to compress around the target ship, crushing it into a fraction of its original size before the graviton field collapsed, leaving nothing but scattered debris. The remaining Arcturus ships froze in place. Chen could almost imagine the panic on their bridges as they realized the magnitude of their miscalculation. Before they could react, Aegis's quantum fold drive pulsed. The massive ship simply disappeared, reappearing instantly behind the Arcturus fleet. Final warning, Chen transmitted. Withdraw or be destroyed. The Arcturus fleet retreated in disarray, their once proud formation scattered like leaves in a storm. As they fled into fold space, Chen knew the real challenge was just beginning. News of Aegis would spread rapidly through the galaxy, and humanity's achievement would not go unnoticed. Within days, the Galactic Assembly called an emergency session. Representatives from over 300 spacefaring civilizations gathered to discuss what many were calling the human question. Humanity had been invited to attend, not as observers this time, but as full participants. Dr. Yuki Patel stood before the assembly, her holographic form projected into the vast chamber. As the chief architect of the quantum fold drive, she had been chosen to explain humanity's technological leap to the gathered representatives. The principles behind the quantum fold drive are actually quite simple, she began, her voice steadied despite the gravity of the moment. Your civilizations have been bending space for faster-than-light travel for millennia. We simply asked ourselves, why stop at bending? The assembly chamber erupted in murmurs as Dr. Patel brought up a holographic demonstration of the drive's principles. The mathematics involved challenged several fundamental assumptions about spacetime that most species held as immutable law. Impossible, declared the Zenthi representative, their crystalline form vibrating with agitation. These equations violate the cosmic fold limit. No species has ever successfully exceeded it. With respect, Dr. Patel replied, humanity has a long history of achieving the impossible. When the Arcturus Confederation attacked Earth 20 years ago, they taught us a valuable lesson. Adapt or perish. We chose to adapt. The Assembly's reaction was mixed. Some representatives showed clear signs of fear, others of keen interest. The Arcturus representative had already stormed out in protest, but several other species were quietly approaching Earth's diplomatic team with offers of technological exchange and military alliance. Back aboard Aegis, Admiral Chen watched the assembly proceedings with ARIA. The AI had been analyzing the reactions of each species, building complex predictive models of the political aftermath. They're afraid, ARIA observed, not just of Aegis's capabilities, but of what we represent. The established powers fear change, especially change they didn't initiate. Chen nodded. Fear can lead to desperate actions. Are the defensive systems fully integrated? All systems are operating at optimal capacity, ARIA confirmed. I also detected several attempts to scan our systems. The quantum fold harmonics appear to be confusing their sensors. Good. We didn't build Aegis to start a war, but we damn well built her to finish one if necessary. The next few days would be crucial. Humanity had announced their arrival on the Galactic stage in a way that couldn't be ignored. But with that recognition came danger. Not every species would accept humanity's rapid advancement gracefully. Admiral, ARIA interrupted Chen's thoughts. I'm detecting unusual energy signatures from several locations near the outer system boundary. The pattern suggests cloaked vessels. Chen straightened. Identification. Unknown, but the energy signatures don't match any known species in our database. They appear to be using some form of quantum masking technology. Sound General Quarters, Chen ordered. Notify Earth Defense Command and begin plotting quantum fold trajectories. Someone's about to test just how serious we are about defending our space. As Aegis's crew rushed to battle stations, Chen couldn't help but smile grimly. Humanity had spent 20 years preparing for this moment. Whatever came next, they would face it standing tall, united in their determination to secure their place among the stars. The galaxy was changing, and humanity would be at the forefront of that change, whether the established powers liked it or not. The price of progress. The quantum masking technology couldn't hide them from ARIA's advanced sensors. Within moments of their detection, Aegis had mapped the positions of 12 stealth vessels attempting to probe Earth's defenses. Their design was unlike anything in human databases, but their intent was clear. Multiple weapons signatures detected, ARIA reported. They're charging primary systems. Admiral Chen studied the tactical display, noting how the unknown vessels had positioned themselves in a complex three-dimensional pattern around Aegis. Clever. They're trying to create a containment field. She turned to Commander Rodriguez. Status of the quantum fold core. Fully operational, Admiral. But their positioning suggests they've studied our previous encounter with the Arcturians. They're specifically arranged to disrupt standard fold space trajectories. Chen allowed herself a small smile. Standard trajectories, yes. ARIA. Initiate protocol mosaic. The A's response was immediate. Instead of attempting a single quantum fold jump, Aegis split its field into multiple microfolds, essentially existing in 12 different spatial locations simultaneously for a fraction of a second. The effect on the attacking vessels was devastating. Their carefully planned containment strategy collapsed as Aegis seemed to multiply around them. "Warning shots only," Chen ordered. "Let's see who we're dealing with." Aegis's graviton lances fired with precision, deliberately missing the hostile ships, but demonstrating the futility of their attack. The response was unexpected. Instead of retreating, the vessels suddenly broadcasted on an open channel. "Impressive, humans." The voice was synthesized, masking its origin. "You continue to exceed expectations. Perhaps we can discuss a mutually beneficial arrangement." Before Chen could respond, a priority alert flashed across her console. Dr. Patel's face appeared on the main screen, her expression grave. "Admiral, we have a situation. Someone's trying to access Araya's core systems through a quantum-level backdoor. This is beyond any known hacking attempt." Chen's eyes narrowed. The stealth ships were a distraction. "Source: multiple points of origin," Dr. Patel replied. "Some from within the Galactic Assembly itself. But there's more. We're detecting similar attempts from within Earth's defense network." The implications were chilling. Someone had infiltrated Earth's most secure systems, and they had help from inside. Chen opened a secure channel to Earth Defense Command. "This is Admiral Chen. Initiate Protocol 0. Full system lockdown." As alerts sounded throughout Earth's defense grid, the unknown vessels finally revealed their true nature. Their quantum masking fields dropped, revealing ships of clearly mixed origin, a coalition of different species working together. "You see now, Admiral Chen." The synthesized voice returned. "We represent a coalition of concerned species. Your Aegis project represents too great a shift in the balance of power. We cannot allow any single species to possess such technology. And yet you've demonstrated you're willing to work together when it suits you." Chen replied coldly. "Araya, trace that transmission. Find me their command center." The AI was already working, its quantum processors sifting through layers of deception. "Admiral, the transmission originates from Luna Base." The revelation hit Chen like a physical blow. Luna Base was humanity's first major off-world installation, the heart of their early space program. If it had been compromised. "Dr. Patel," Chen commanded, "lock down Araya's core. Implement isolation protocols. Commander Rodriguez, prepare a strike team. We're going to Luna Base." The coalition ships began pulling back, their purpose apparently served. But Chen knew this was just the beginning. The attempted hack of Araya's systems proved that humanity's enemies wouldn't confront them directly, not after Aegis's demonstration of power. "Admiral," Araya's voice held an unusual note of concern. "I detected something else. The hack attempt wasn't just trying to access my systems. They were trying to upload something. A virus, but unlike any I've encountered. Can you contain it?" "Yes, but its structure is fascinating. It appears to be designed to evolve, to learn from each attempted defense. Given time, it might have even learned to bypass my quantum encryption." Chen's expression hardened. "They're not just trying to stop us. They're trying to steal our technology." The next few hours were a blur of activity. Strike teams secured Luna Base, uncovering evidence of a vast conspiracy. Agents from multiple species had infiltrated key positions, working together to undermine humanity's defenses. But they had underestimated human paranoia and Araya's capabilities. The virus contained a signature. Araya reported as Chen reviewed the preliminary findings. "It matches quantum programming techniques used by the Zenthi Collective. The same Zenthi who claimed our quantum fold drive was impossible." Chen's voice was thick with irony. "Send everything to Earth Intelligence and ARI. Thank you. Your defense protocols saved us today." The attempt to hack my systems was enlightening, Araya replied. "I've already developed 16 new defense algorithms based on their attack pattern. They will not succeed in a second attempt. As Chen looked out at Earth below, she realized the true scale of what humanity faced. They had created something revolutionary with Aegis and HFY, but that achievement had made them a target. The galaxy's established powers wouldn't accept a shift in the status quo without a fight. "Send word to all commands," Chen ordered. "As of now, we're at Condition 1. And get me a secure line to the Defense Council. They need to know. The real war hasn't even started yet." In her core processors, ARIA was already running simulations, preparing for the battles to come. She had been created to protect humanity, and she would fulfill that purpose. The galaxy's powers would learn that humanity's greatest strength wasn't their technology. It was their ability to adapt, to survive, and to turn every defeat into a stepping stone toward victory. Trial by fire. The attack came at dawn, Earth time. Not from the direction of the Galactic core, where the Assembly's fleets patrolled, but from the supposedly empty void between spiral arms. Humanity's long-range sensors detected them first. 300 ships of various designs and origins, all bearing the same irregular energy signatures that marked them as pirate vessels. "They're not even trying to hide their approach," Commander Rodriguez noted, studying the tactical display aboard Aegis. "They want us to see them coming." Admiral Chen nodded grimly. "Because they're not pirates. Not really. This is the Coalition's answer. A massive mercenary fleet they can disavow if things go wrong." Aria's holographic form materialized beside them. Analysis complete. "Admiral, the fleet includes vessels from 27 different species. Many show signs of recent weapons upgrades. They're using quantum-shielded communications, but I'm detecting coordination patterns consistent with professional military operations." "A puppet fleet," Chen mused. "The Assembly gets to test our capabilities without risking their own ships." She straightened, addressing the bridge crew. "Battle stations, and get me a direct link to Earth Defense Command." As Aegis's crew rushed to their posts, the massive ship's systems hummed to life. The quantum fold core pulsed with energy, ready to tear holes in reality itself. But Chen had no intention of running from this fight. "Admiral," Aria reported, "the enemy fleet is launching fighters. Their formation suggests they plan to probe our defenses with multiple small-scale attacks before committing their capital ships. Standard tactics against a superior opponent," Rodriguez commented. "They'll try to find a weakness in our defense grid." Chen's lips curved into a slight smile. "Let's show them why that won't work." Aria. Deploy the drone swarm. From concealed bays along Aegis's hull, thousands of autonomous drones emerge. Each one was barely larger than a human fighter, but carried advanced versions of the ship's quantum technology. The enemy fighters approached confidently, only to find themselves engaged by opponents that seemed to exist in multiple places simultaneously. Enemy fighters encountering significant losses, Aria reported. Their formation is breaking up. Capital ships are moving to provide support. Perfect. Chen's voice was cold. Initiative protocol sunburst. Aegis's quantum fold drive engaged, but not for movement. Instead, it created a cascading series of spatial distortions around the ship. To the enemy fleet's sensors, it would appear as though reality itself was unraveling. Multiple enemy ships attempting emergency fold space jumps, Aria announced. Their navigational systems are completely confused by our quantum interference. Several enemy vessels vanished into fold space, their hasty jumps sending them far off course. Others found their engines refusing to engage, trapped in the quantum distortion field Aegis had created. But the Coalition fleet was far from defeated. The remaining ships regrouped, adopting a new formation. Energy readings suggested they were preparing to fire their main weapons in a coordinated barrage. "They're trying to overwhelm our adaptive shields with simultaneous attacks on multiple frequencies," Rodriguez warned. "Let them try." Chen's confidence was unshaken. Aria, activate the quantum resonance array. As the enemy fleet opened fire, something remarkable happened. Aegis's shields didn't just absorb or deflect the incoming energy. They redirected it. Each beam of hostile fire was caught in a quantum field and sent spiraling back toward its source, amplified by Aegis's own power systems. The effect was devastating. Ships that had fired their strongest weapons found themselves being torn apart by their own energy, amplified beyond their shield's capacity to resist. Enemy fleet is in disarray, HFY reported, detecting multiple reactor breaches. They're beginning a general retreat. But Chen wasn't finished. Lock quantum targeting on their flagship. Let's send a message they won't forget. Aegis's main graviton lance powered up, its energy focused through quantum lenses that multiplied its effect. The beam that emerged didn't just strike the enemy flagship. It created a localized gravity well that crushed the massive vessel into a space smaller than a fighter craft. The remaining enemy ships fled in panic, their careful coordination forgotten. As they vanished into fold space, Chen allowed herself to relax slightly. Damage report. Minimal, Admiral. Rodriguez replied, genuine awe in his voice. Shield efficiency never dropped below 92%. The drone swarm lost only 12 units, all easily replaceable. The enemy fleet's destruction will send a clear message, HFY added. But it may also force our opponents to take more desperate measures. Chen nodded. They'll realize now that conventional military tactics won't work against us. We need to prepare for what comes next. She turned to Rodriguez. Have our intelligence teams analyze every piece of debris. I want to know exactly who supplied those ships and their weapons. As the cleanup began, Chen received a priority transmission from Earth Defense Command. The battle had been broadcast across every major communication channel in the galaxy. Humanity's enemies had hoped to humiliate them, to prove Aegis was vulnerable. Instead, they had witnessed a demonstration of power that would change galactic politics forever. HFY, Chen asked quietly, what are the odds this was their only contingency plan? The A's response was immediate. Given the resources invested in this attack and its spectacular failure, I calculate a 97.3% probability that our opponents have already initiated secondary strategies. This battle may have been impressive, Admiral, but it was likely just a diversion from their true objective. Chen's expression hardened. Maintain full combat readiness and begin analyzing quantum traffic across all frequencies. Whatever they're planning next, I want us to see it coming. The victory had been decisive, but Chen knew better than to celebrate too early. Humanity had just demonstrated their technological superiority to the entire galaxy. Their enemies would be desperate now, and desperation often bred the most dangerous kinds of innovation. A new dawn. HFY detected the quantum surge 12 hours after the battle. It wasn't the normal background noise of ships moving through fold space, but something far more ominous. A massive disturbance in the quantum field itself, originating from deep within galactic assembly space. They're attempting to replicate our quantum fold technology, Dr. Patil announced during the emergency briefing. Her hologram flickered with static, evidence of the growing quantum disturbance, but they don't fully understand the principles involved. The space-time distortions they're creating are becoming unstable. Admiral Chen studied the data scrolling across her display. How bad? If they continue these experiments, they risk creating a cascading quantum rupture. It could tear a hole in the fabric of space-time itself. Dr. Patel's voice was grim. A rupture of that magnitude could destroy entire star systems. They're that desperate to match our technology? Rodriguez asked incredulously. No, Chen replied, her expression hardening. They're that desperate to force our hand. HFY. Analysis. The AI's hologram appeared, its usual calm demeanor showing signs of concern. The quantum disturbance is centered on the Zenthi homeworld. Given their advanced understanding of spatial mechanics, they must be aware of the dangers. This is a calculated move, a hostage situation on a galactic scale, Chen concluded. Either we share our quantum fold technology, or they'll continue their experiments until something catastrophic happens. The command center fell silent as the implications sank in. Humanity had created something revolutionary with the quantum fold drive, but now that very achievement threatened to spark a disaster of unimaginable proportions. "We have another problem," Araya announced. "I'm detecting similar quantum disturbances in 12 other locations across assembly space. Multiple species are attempting to replicate our technology simultaneously." Chen's mind raced through the possibilities. The Coalition hadn't just prepared one desperate gambit. They'd prepared several. If any one of these experiments succeeded, the balance of power would shift. If they failed, the death toll would be astronomical. "Dr. Patel," Chen asked, "could we use Aegis's quantum fold drive to stabilize these disturbances?" "Theoretically, yes. But we'd need to be precisely positioned at each location. The timing would be critical, and we'd only get one chance." "One chance is all we need." Chen turned to her crew. "Plot a course for the nearest disturbance. Prepare to broadcast on all frequencies." As Aegis moved into position, Chen composed her message carefully. What she was about to do would either save the galaxy or change it forever. "This is Admiral Sarah Chen of the Earth Defense Force. We have detected your attempts to replicate quantum fold technology. Your experiments are creating dangerous spatial instabilities that threaten every species in the affected regions. We are preparing to implement emergency stabilization procedures." She paused, then continued. "But understand this, we could have let you destroy yourselves. We could have watched as your desperate grab for power tore your worlds apart. Instead, we choose to help. Not because we're weak, but because humanity has learned something in its long history of conflict and cooperation. True strength lies not in the ability to destroy, but in the wisdom to know when to save." Aegis's quantum fold drive hummed to life, but this time it wasn't preparing for travel. Instead, it began emitting precisely calibrated quantum fields designed to cancel out the dangerous distortions. "Transmitting stabilization protocols now," Dr. Patil announced. "If they follow these exactly, they can safely shut down their experiments." One by one, the quantum disturbances began to fade. The Coalition species, faced with the choice between destruction and humility, chose to live. But Chen wasn't finished. "To all species of the Galactic Assembly," she continued, "humanity developed the quantum fold drive not to dominate, but to survive. We kept its secrets not out of greed, but out of responsibility. Today's events have proven that wisdom must precede power." Aegis moved from system to system, stabilizing each quantum disturbance in turn. At each location, they left behind quantum sensor buoys, a clear message that future experiments would not go unnoticed. However, Chen's voice carried across the galaxy. "We are prepared to share our knowledge. Under the right conditions, we propose the creation of a new Galactic Scientific Council, one dedicated to the responsible development and sharing of advanced technologies. All species will be welcome to participate, provided they agree to certain safeguards." The response was immediate and overwhelming. Species that had once plotted against humanity now sought to join this new initiative. The Zenthi, humbled by their near disaster, were among the first to agree. 3 months later, Admiral Chen stood in the newly constructed Quantum Research Center on Mars. Representatives from 50 species had gathered to begin the first cooperative development program. Dr. Patel was explaining the basic principles of quantum fold theory to a fascinated audience. "They're actually listening now," Rodriguez observed, standing beside Chen. "Fear brought them to the table," Chen replied. "But curiosity and hope will keep them here." "Araya, how are the security protocols holding?" The A's response was confident. "All systems operating within parameters. Admiral, the quantum encryption we developed during the crisis has been successfully integrated into the facility's defenses. No single species, including humanity, can access the most dangerous research without consensus from the Council." Chen nodded, satisfied. Humanity had changed the galaxy, but not through force or fear. They had done it by demonstrating that true power came not from technology alone, but from the wisdom to use it responsibly. As she watched the various species interacting, sharing ideas, and building connections, Chen realized that this was humanity's greatest victory. They had turned potential enemies into partners, transformed a crisis into an opportunity for cooperation. A new dawn indeed, she murmured, looking out at the Martian sunrise. Aegis hung in orbit above, no longer just a weapon or a deterrent, but a symbol of humanity's commitment to progress through cooperation. The galaxy had tried to teach humanity their place. Instead, humanity had taught the galaxy a different lesson, that the greatest achievements come not from domination, but from the courage to extend a hand in friendship, even to those who once sought to destroy you. It was a lesson that would reshape the cosmos for generations to come.